All right, when you think of Bermuda, you probably picture these gorgeous pink sand beaches, right? Turquoise water, it's a paradise. But it turns out that beautiful island is hiding a huge geological secret. It's the story of an island that, according to everything we thought we knew, simply shouldn't exist.
So, here's the central mystery. Bermuda is a volcanic island, we know that, but its volcano went extinct over 30 million years ago. Now, the rules of geology are pretty clear on this. An old, dead volcanic island should cool down, get heavy, and sink back into the ocean. So, the big question is, why is Bermuda still here?
And this chart really lays it all out. On the left, you've got your textbook volcanic island. Think of Hawaii. It's born over a hot spot, the tectonic plate moves it away, it cools, it sinks. Simple. But then you have Bermuda over on the right. Its volcano is ancient, totally cold, and yet it's just sitting there, stubbornly refusing to sink. It's a total geological rebel.
So let's really dig into this 30-million-year-old puzzle. The laws of physics say volcanic islands sink, but Bermuda is perched way up on this massive underwater pedestal called the Bermuda Rise, which stands 500 meters high off the seafloor. Something has to be holding it up, and for a very long time, nobody had a clue what it was.
To crack this case, scientists had to become detectives. You can't just drill hundreds of kilometers into the Earth, right? So instead, they used this absolutely brilliant technique that's kind of like giving the planet a CT scan, using faint echoes from deep inside the Earth to finally see what's hiding underneath Bermuda.
So how in the world did they do this? Well, it all starts with an earthquake, maybe thousands of miles away. The waves from that quake travel all the way through the planet. Now, when those waves pass under Bermuda and hit different layers of rock, they create tiny, faint echoes. A single seismic station on the island has been listening for these echoes for decades. By taking the signals from hundreds of different earthquakes and stacking them on top of each other, they could filter out all the random noise and, just like magic, a crystal clear picture of the deep Earth emerged. And that detailed picture gave them their first huge clue. What they saw was completely unexpected, something that would totally rewrite the story of what's holding Bermuda up from below.
What they found was, well, it was an extra layer. See, normally, under the ocean floor, you've got the crust, and right below that, the mantle. That's it. But under Bermuda, there was something else wedged in between. Something huge that had no business being there.
And when I say huge, I mean it. This mystery layer was 20 kilometers thick. That's over 12 miles. Finding a structure like that in that location was just mind-blowing. It was the first solid piece of evidence that something incredibly weird was going on.
The process that creates this is called underplating. Just imagine magma rising up from the mantle, but instead of erupting, it gets stuck and just freezes onto the bottom of the crust. For Bermuda, this process built an enormous, thick sheet of new rock that acts like, well, like a giant geological life raft, literally floating the island and keeping it from sinking.
You can almost hear the astonishment in the voice of William Fraser, the lead scientist on the study. He basically said, look, it's supposed to be crust, then mantle, period. But in Bermuda, there's this other thing. It just completely changed the map of the deep Earth in that region.
And here's the really cool part, how the life raft actually works. The math showed that this giant 20-kilometer slab of rock is only about 1.5% less dense than the mantle it pushed out of the way. That sounds like a tiny difference, right? But when you spread that tiny bit of buoyancy over such a massive volume, it's enough to lift the entire seafloor by 500 meters. That's almost exactly the height of the Bermuda Rise. The numbers fit perfectly.
Okay, so mystery number 1, solved. Bermuda is being held up by a giant, buoyant life raft made of ancient magma. But you know how it is in science, solving one mystery just opens up an even bigger, deeper one. Where did the material for this bizarre raft even come from?
This became the next burning question. The answer wasn't going to be found with seismic waves. No, for this, they had to look at clues that had been locked away in a vault for almost 50 years.
So, way back in 1972, a team drilled a really deep sample of Bermuda's ancient volcanic guts. When modern scientists reanalyzed this rock with today's technology, they found some really strange stuff. The lava was packed with things like water and carbon, and it was super low in silica. Its whole chemical fingerprint was just wrong for a typical volcanic island. It was practically screaming, "I'm not from around here."
And that exotic source? It turned out to be the Mantle Transition Zone.
Now, this is not your normal magma kitchen. We're talking about a layer deep, deep inside the planet, between 410 and 660 kilometers down. That's basically a waterlogged graveyard of crystals. The theory is that some kind of disturbance way down there, 30 million years ago, sent a blob of this weird wet material surging upwards to create Bermuda.
And this quote from Esteban Gazelle, who led that second study, really drives home how important this is. He said, "We found a new way to make volcanoes." This wasn't just about Bermuda anymore. This was the first time scientists had hard evidence that you could make a volcano by tapping into this super deep, exotic part of the mantle. It's a whole new recipe for building an island.
All right, for the last piece of this epic puzzle, we have to pull the camera way, way back. Because it turns out that Bermuda's strange deep plumbing isn't just a one-off. It seems to be part of a much bigger story that's playing out deep beneath the entire east coast of North America. Take a look at this. These are cross-sections of the Earth under the east coast of the United States. The red bits are what you want to focus on. That's hotter, less dense material. For a while now, scientists have known about these big, red blobs lurking deep under the continent, but they weren't sure how it all fit together.
And this is the money shot. We're looking at slices of the Earth at different depths. See those red areas again? As we go deeper, you can literally trace a trail of this hot material. It seems to connect those blobs under the continent directly to the spot where Bermuda is. It's like they're all part of the same massive plumbing system.
So here's the grand unified theory. All of this, Bermuda's weird lava, its buoyant life raft, those strange blobs under the east coast, it's all likely part of one enormous upwelling from the deep mantle. And what's driving this whole engine? The best guess is the ancient Farallon Plate. It's a slob of old ocean floor that's been sinking into the mantle for millions of years. And as it sinks, it's displacing and pushing all this other weird deep material back up.
So in the end, Bermuda is so much more than just a beautiful island. It's a clue. It's a 30-million-year-old message from the deep Earth, telling us about incredible processes happening hundreds of kilometers below us. And it really makes you wonder, if a secret this huge was hiding under such a famous place, what other amazing planetary mysteries are still down there, just waiting to be discovered, right beneath our feet?